Hello and welcome to WatchMaxe's Watch Videos. My name is Axel and I'm glad to have you on the show. This video is about a watch which has been a very spontaneous purchase on my side. It's the Guinand Duograph Klassik, a watch which is limited to 50 pieces, and I happen to know that only 2 have been available, so I decided nearly ad hoc to buy one, and it is a watch which made me totally happy. It has been on my wrist for about 2 weeks now, which is quite a long time for me, and in a couple of days there will be my 1 week on the wrist video with that watch, and it's actually outdated in the meantime since it has been on my wrist for 2 weeks. A watch which seemed to be not very spectacular on a first glance, however, it really makes me happy, and I'm going to show you that in this video. The Guinand Duograph Klassik is a Flieger watch, a pilot's watch with the typical pilot's watch attributes like extremely good readability, high contrast between the dial and the hands. Okay, it's a polished case, which is not a typical Flieger watch. It has a look-through case back. Again, not a typical Flieger watch, but for sure it is a Flieger watch which belongs into the Series 40s of Guinand's. The watch has a diameter of 40.6 millimeter, a thickness of 15.2 millimeter, and a lug-to-lug span of 48.4 millimeter. The lug width is 20 millimeter, and the bezel is a bi-directional bezel with no clicks. The watch is water resistant up to 20 bar, equaling 20 meter, and is empowered by a Sellita SW500 in a decorated version and a special rotor, to which I will come later in the video in detail. The look-through case back is a sapphire crystal, and on the front we also have a sapphire crystal which is AAR coated. Let's see how this watch sits on my wrist. Currently I have the Botta Uno 40mm on my wrist, and comparing the two watches we can see how different 40mm in diameter can look. On the left side we have the 40mm Uno, and on the right side the 40.6mm Guinand. Completely different watches. On my 17 centimeter, equaling 6 3/4 of an inch wrist, the Guinand sits extremely comfortable. The strap is a thick and robust leather strap, perfectly fitting to the watch, slightly shorter than the usual straps. For me it's a perfect fit, and it feels absolutely great on my wrist, and I love the watch, and I think it's gonna be a long time keeper. Yeah, let's have a closer look to the watch. We can see there is no crown guard on the watch, which gives the watch a kind of retro or vintage charm and look. I think I only have chronographs with crown guards, so this was kind of new to me, and I have to say I like it a lot. It looks absolutely great, makes it easy to operate. The crown is signed with the G for Guinand. The pushers are protected, not screwed pushers, so easy to operate, and the pressure point is hard enough in order not to erroneously push the pushers. It's a screw down crown. The case back is also screwed down, really nicely made and clean operated. Absolutely great watch, and high quality production standards have been fulfilled by Guinand. Yeah, as I said, the pushers have a clearly defined pressure point, and as you can see, the tip of the second hand is blue, as well as the point at the top of the bezel. The case is polished, and the rotor is with the golden Guinand logo and the limitation number 49 out of 50, so a very small limitation number. And the movement itself, it's decorated with Geneva stripes with some perlage, with blued screws. So absolutely nice to see, and I like the look-through case back with these kind of movements. What I found is that the shape of this typical Series 40 case looks completely different once it's polished compared to the bead blasted or brushed cases I've seen before. Well, the polished case, of course, is a little bit more exposed to scratches. If you can't stand that, you may have troubles with this particular watch. However, I think it makes the watch look really, really great. Another point which might be discussed is the fact of the cut numbers on the dial. You can see it at the 11, slightly at the 7 and 5. Some love it, some hate it, others don't care. But I have to say, the counters can be bigger with cut numbers, which makes it easier to read. And I think it's a really advantage having that if you want to use the counters, what they're made for, counting the stop time. Absolutely great. And I do like the symmetry of the dial with the horizontal axis, the logo and the date, and the vertical axis with the two counters. Absolutely great and really, really well made. Yeah, the polished case, as I said, may become scratches, micro scratches, maybe even thicker scratches over time. But this is the story of life the watch is going to tell, as well as the edges of the black bezel, which may fade a little bit over time, become some white spots. This belongs to this kind of watch, and yeah, I kind of wait for it to happen. I love the Heuer Bund style of the bezel. It's a very special style, and I think it perfectly fits to this watch and makes the watch look a little bit vintage. However, given the extremely good luminescent color and the modern movement, it's not a vintage watch, but it has some retro charm, which I do like a lot. The strap, as you can see here, is a thick handmade leather strap. It's a little bit shorter than the standard straps, which perfectly fits on my wrist, but if you have a thicker wrist, you may need a longer strap. The pin buckle is a polished buckle, Guinand signed, perfectly fine, great package overall. If we turn the watch around, we see on the side the polished side, and then we see the back side with the water resistant 20 bar. We see the Guinand engravement. We see Frankfurt as a production stand. So nicely made, and it's a clear statement towards where the watch was made and what the watch stands for. Made in Germany and a tool watch. I would like to show you how the watch does in no light conditions. Let's change the settings, switch off the light, and here we have the watch at night. The luminescent color is extremely bright and long-lasting, something I really do appreciate because it increases the usability for me a lot, and this watch can be read throughout the whole night, even after a couple of hours in total darkness. It's extremely good readable, absolutely perfect and great watch for me and my eyes and my capability to read the watch. Something I'd like to mention is the ring between the dial and the glass at the front. But first, let's have a look at the really nice decorated movement, the limitation number of the rotor, the golden Guinand logo. So really nice to see, and that's something I enjoy watching, a watch I enjoy every day on my wrist. But coming back to one point which I think it's really well done on that watch is the ring between the dial and the glass. It's not a steep ring, it has a certain angle which slightly reduces the optical size of the watch, and at the same time it avoids the depth of the watch. If you look from the top to the watch, it doesn't appear to be so deep according to the slightly beveled ring between the dial and the glass. I prefer this over other options I've seen with other watches. Really nicely made. Yeah, I would like to understand and read what you think about the watch, the limitation, the price, the way it is done, and write it into the comments. If not yet done, subscribe to my channel, but most importantly, stay safe and look forward to the next videos to come. Cheers, Axel.